walk through the valley of the shadow of hell, you will realize that there is something ahead. Something that lurks behind the dark veil. A veil that is beyond our own comprehension. Beyond the void.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Void
Horror Podcast.
Yes. Merry Christmas, you pieces of shit.
Go fuck yourselves.
You petty peasants.
We hate you.
What's up, guys? How you doing? Hope you're having a great holiday season, whatever you celebrate. But it's time to take a break from real life, quit your jobs, and listen to Beyond the Void.
Quit your jobs.
Yeah.
Don't ever go back.
Yeah, don't go back. Safe is here.
Fuck money.
Yeah.
No one needs it.
But yeah, we're back for another episode, our Flesh and Potatoes segment, where we're going to be talking about two movies, breaking them down, telling you our favorites, favorite scenes, all that other jazz. And the just two movies are going to be Saint Nicholas, Saint or Sint, and A Cadaver Christmas. So we're ready to drop some bombs on you, literal physical logs of human shit.
Feces.
Sorry. I'm all over the place, dude. So I think we're going to go ahead and jump into the flesh and potatoes and save you all the bullshit. And this week it's called
Saint Cadaver.
So let's go ahead and jump into the flesh and potatoes
Right now.
So, we're starting it off this week with Saint.
Yes.
Sint. Or there's a million other
Saint
names.
Nicholas,
Because
yeah.
it kind of depends on what fucking country you were in when it came out.
Right.
But it is officially was released in the Netherlands in 2010. So the official title is Sint, which is saint in, I don't know, fucking Dutch.
Yeah, it's like Amsterdam's the whole place. It takes
Yeah,
place.
I believe the language is Dutch.
The Netherlands.
Netherlands. Amsterdam.
The Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
Oh, welcome to the Netherlands.
Because we say it like assholes.
I don't yell like assholes.
Even though we're probably from that fucking country. Or our ancestors are anyway.
Hey, they always say, like, how do you do there, partner? Like, that's how we...
Do it.
Yeah, fuck them. No, I'm just kidding.
Jesus.
I'm just kidding.
All right. So let's give you a little backstory on this movie. Pretty much it goes like this.
Oh.
Saint Nicholas, which is a bishop fallen from grace, travels in the Middle Ages with his gang of robbers and thieves, raping, plundering, and killing. When villagers grow weary of appeasing Saint Nicholas, they take the law into their own hands and murder the bishop and his thugs by setting fire to their ship. In that final moment, the bloodthirsty bishop vows for revenge.
Oh, my God.
I wrote that, by the way, so think.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's pretty good,
I
actually.
did my own one because I'm awesome. This movie was directed and written by Dick Moss, which has the greatest name
Dickmas.
fucking ever. It's Dickmas, Dick Moss.
Mary
it's great.
Dickmas. No, I'm kidding. Sorry, guy.
It's like Dickmas or Big Dick or whatever. It's fantastic.
Pretty bad. Badass, I mean.
He has done movies such as Rick and Mortis, D-Lift or The Lift in the U.S., Amsterdammed, and Prey. The Lift and Amsterdam are probably like his two most well-known movies.
Okay.
I mean, they're ones I knew,
Yeah.
you know. But anyway, moving on.
So now you're going to butcher all their names?
Yep.
Is this-
Pretty much.
yeah. Flargy,
No,
blurgy,
they're
blur.
not that bad, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anywho, so it stars Egbert Jan Weber, who plays Frank, who is in movies called Necrocam, Backslide, and Belladonna's.
Okay.
All of these actors are pretty much specific to the Netherlands, so you probably won't know most of them.
Maybe not. Yeah, it seems like there's like a big wall where the entertainment can get out, but you don't. Yeah, there's not much out. It doesn't Yeah.
There's not much crossover, especially with the actors in this movie in particular, and then from Rare Exports that we did last week.
Yeah, same thing. Huh?
There's no crossover there, so it's kind of interesting. But I don't know if maybe they're like, fuck the United States, like we don't want to act there. Who knows?
Maybe we're assholes.
Or maybe we are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, just take into account what we're dealing with right now. So they're like,
right,
never mind.
Yeah.
Also stars Bert Loops, who plays Goert, who is also in Amsterdam, Black Book, and Journey Through the Night. Can't read my own handwriting because I'm a piece of shit.
Wow. I'll let you run with that one.
You're going to notice a common theme here with a lot of the actors. Obviously, that they have worked in other films that Dick Moss has produced, or directed and written.
Or as I like to call him, Dickmas.
Dickmas. I feel like I want to call him Dickmas the rest of this episode.
Huh.
It also
totally insensitive, totally insulting.
A little bit, yeah. But it fits the theme, so
right,
there we
yeah.
go. It's been decided. Also stars Carol Lenson, who plays Lisa, who was in Night Run. She was also in Necrocam and a movie called The Ninth Hour.
Necrocam.
I know. I've never heard of it, but it sounds pretty cool.
Sounds like someone's like setting up a camera to watch dead people.
It's probably
or have
exactly
sex
what it's about.
with them.
I don't know. Look it up.
No.
I want to know.
I don't want to see it. I don't want
to see it.
This is Christmas.
I do. I want to see it.
It's the holidays.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that, but never mind. We're going to get into it later.
Right.
Also stars Hub Staple, who plays Nicholas, Saint Nick.
Oh, that's the guy?
Pre-burned version.
Oh, pre-burned. Okay.
Yeah.
Pre-burned.
I'm pretty sure he actually plays him like in the makeup too, but the only pictures they show of him are pre-burned Saint Nicholas, so I'm like, I don't know, whatever.
He looks like the kind of guy that's like, you shall not pass. Like that kind of, some kind of wizard.
Excellent. You're a wizard, Harry.
He's a Baptist wizard.
Oh my God. This guy is also in Amsterdam, The Lift, and Sea of Silence. He's worked on a lot of movies actually with Dick Moss.
Okay. Dick Moss.
Last but not least that I want to mention was Ben Ramekers, who plays Van Dyke. He was the guy with the crazy fucking dubbed voice.
Oh.
The bald dude, like the big buff bald guy. And like Mouse comes in and he's
hey
like,
guys, how are you?
Yeah, Mouse comes in like when he's on screen and he goes, "Is that guy's real fucking voice?"
It almost sounds like it, doesn't
he's like,
it?
Holy shit. And I'm like, it's the dubbed versions, but yeah, it kind of fits them.
It does.
It's a little extravagant, but it works.
I thought it fit him.
It was cool. He actually has a really long list of stuff that he's done. A couple of these actors do, but he's in ones I picked out were The Northerners, Orlong's Winter, which actually sounds amazing, by the way, and Leak 2000.
Okay.
So yeah, what did you think of this film?
I hated it. No, I'm kidding. No, I didn't hate it. I thought it was a fun movie. Felt that it was a little slow in parts. It does have some funniness to it, but it's just kind of like more like quirky than it is like funny. But there was some parts that I inadvertently laughed out loud, I guess. Not necessarily because of the acting or anything. And who knows, maybe I missed it because we watched the English dub version, you know? And I'd seen this before years ago when it first came out because I was like, holy shit, I gotta watch this. Like this crazy ride of St. Nicholas.
Holy shit.
Getting wild up in here.
Knocked my knickers off.
No, but I think it's an enjoyable movie. It's not high on my list of like holiday horror movies. For me, I thought it was just okay. Like it's like just above average by a little bit. There's some cool dialogue that goes back and forth. I do like some of the acting in it. I thought the acting was decent. Like the main guy who plays
Frank, like the main kid, or are you talking about Goert?
I'm trying to think of his name. It's the guy who was the kid.
Whose family got killed?
Yeah, and then he grew up to be like a cop. Yeah, and he's like a detective or whatever.
Goert.
Yeah, that guy.
His character's name.
I can't think of his name, but yeah, that guy.
That guy.
Yeah. He's pretty cool. I liked him in it a lot. I thought he was really fun. A little crazy. Played the part really well. But overall, I mean, the movie's it's gory. It does have some pretty decent gore in it. There's some funny parts in it. There's a little bit of controversy with this movie, too. So I think anybody that watched it at a glance would be like, well, fuck this movie, like immediately. Although it is a different culture, although it is still controversial over there. And we'll probably get into that in the trivia.
We will. know.
So, and we'll explain what that means, but you're going to want to stick around to find out. Overall, though, I actually thought it was a decent movie. Like, it's like one that I keep in my mind that I'm like, oh, I could watch that again. Like, I wouldn't mind watching it, but I'm not like anxious to see it. It's like I'm not overexcited about it. So, what about you?
I was completely underwhelmed.
Yeah?
By this movie, and I was really upset because I was really excited to watch it.
Because it looked like a batshit crazy ride?
Awesome. I mean, I'm totally into, like, crazy forlorn bishops and shit that are just, like, zombified and fucking nuts.
Right.
You know? And I'm super into that. I mean, obviously, like, I'm a big fan of the band Ghost, so...
Right.
I like that whole kind of concept of...
That's so funny.
What? Why is that
I
funny?
totally get it, but it's just weird. It's like the weird...
But it's the perfect comparison.
Right.
Because it's like this whole, like, Catholicism that's fucking wrong.
Right.
But it's
Anglo-Saxon.
Right, and it's awesome. So I don't know. It's a cool concept that I, like, really enjoy.
Right.
I don't know. And then it has this movie's described, too, is that it's a fucking Santa that's killing children and families and all this shit. And I'm like, they don't really kill any kids, though.
Well, maybe part of the reason that we weren't so
Not like they should kill kids. Like, don't get that's gonna sound
why
really
not?
bad. But
why
like,
not? No,
it's gonna sound really awful. But I hate when they lead with something like that and they don't really deliver on it.
well, they did.
And they subtly, like really quickly, like in one scene specifically. But
yeah, they like tastefully.
Yeah, they did it. They did do it tastefully. I'll give them that. But I felt like it didn't go as dark as it should have. Mm-hmm. And it has the perfect setup to do that, but it doesn't quite go there.
Right.
You know, they take it a kind of a weird direction, and they don't do a lot of backstory explanation, too, to explain why they're going in that direction. So it's kind of weird. It's a little bit of a convoluted story. I understand what they were trying to do and how they were trying to do it, but it just doesn't jive.
Right. Well, you know, what I was thinking is that maybe it didn't also hit with us as well because we don't really know the original story of their version of Santa Claus or Sinterklaas.
Yeah, I knew a little bit of the backstory
it's
behind
different,
it, but
though.
it is different.
Yeah, it's like December 5th is the big day.
Yeah.
Like that's their day for holiday. It's not even Christmas, like 25th or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's like totally different.
Yeah.
Which every country pretty much celebrates differently.
Right. And then, you know, people put on blackface, totally normal.
So I was watching this and I'm like, Jesus.
I was like, holy shit, I forgot all about that.
I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I understand this is like 2010, so there's something to think about, too. They made this in like 2009 or 2008, most likely, when they filmed it.
Right.
So they're not to say that this was acceptable when they did it then, but I don't think it was as criticized.
Right. No. Well, I mean, it is yeah. It probably 5 years ago would have been able to get away with it even still, but now it's not.
No. Yeah.
But there is more story on that, and we'll definitely dive into that. I just kind of, I don't know, was throwing that out there because like, I was like, oh, shit, damn. But to give you guys kind of an idea, a little bit about the story starts out, it's essentially 1492 AD on December 5th in Amsterdam. St. Nicholas, which you mentioned, he used to pillage villages, and
they wanted every villager, like they had a thing that they asked them specifically to leave packages on,
and if they didn't,
on their doors, and if they didn't, then they would do whatever they wanted to these families. They
right.
wanted like leather and I think sheep
like,
and gold or whatever, like all these like ridiculous things that most of these villagers obviously don't have or they can't get.
Right.
So, and even if they would deliver, half the time they'd still do whatever the fuck they wanted anyway.
Right, because they could.
Yeah, because they can. They have the fucking power. They're all these crazy fucking horrible people with like.
Well, and they're also like Pete's, Black Pete's. But essentially, it's almost like they're pirates because they're on a ship and it's like this whole story. It's some sort of weird different thing that...
Super pirate.
But they come off the ship. If they don't get what they're supposed to have, then they rape and pillage everything, kill people, whatever they want. And when the villagers fight back, they burn his boat, like you mentioned in the synopsis, with all of his helpers. And you fast forward to, I think it was like 1958 in Amsterdam. It was like, yeah, I think it was 58. But a boy's like family gets murdered by the undead saint who comes back, and his helpers and all his brothers and sisters and parents apparently, except for him. Then you fast forward 40 more years, and he's a cop hell bent on finding Saint Nick when he's going to pop up again. And apparently, once every 32 years, when the moon is full on the 5th of December. Saint Nick comes back to kill or find all the naughty people.
He basically just kills whoever is in his way.
Right. I mean, he's essentially Santa Claus, but They say it's the Anglo-Saxon Santa Claus that it's based off of. So apparently the lyrics of the older traditional Sinterklaas songs, still sung today, warn that the Sinterklaas and his assistant will leave well-behaved children presents, and they will punish those who have been very naughty. For example, they will take bad children and carry these children off in a burlap sack to their homeland of Spain, where, according to the legend, Sinterklaas and his helper dwell out of season. These songs and stories also warn that a child who has been on slightly naughty will get a present, but a roe, which is a bundle of birch twigs, implying that they could have gotten a birching instead, or they will simply receive a lump of coal instead of gifts. So it's very similar to the Santa Claus story in a way, but not as malevolent.
Yeah, we're a bunch of pussies in the United States.
Yeah.
Here, apparently, because there's never any, like, you're going to get put in a bag and carried off to Spain.
Well, a lot of places they say, like, it's like you got the fucking Krampus and everything
Krampus,
like
yeah.
that, and Germany and other places, Austria, I think, is even, and it's way more dark. Like, it's not like...
Wait, Krampus fucking, like, eats you.
Well, think about all the fables
crazy.
that we have on, you know, in books, like Snow White and all that shit. They all come from fucking...
Really dark
The
places.
Brothers Grimm, like, fucking tales, and they're all fucked up and dark, and we, like, Disneyfied them.
Yeah, we ruined them.
Well, yeah, to make them make money off them. Boy, did they
pussified
sell, yeah.
We pussified every
Yeah,
single
everything's
one of them.
happy, children. You'll not be eaten by a small demon
You're
today.
just going to get kissed when you don't want to.
Imagine how many
Basically
good kids
raped
we
by a
would
prince.
have. Would you say? I'm sorry.
You'll just get kissed when you don't want to and basically raped by a prince. But, you know.
Wow. Yeah, while you're sleeping, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this is fucked up. So, I don't know. Like, it's so stupid. Like, just shit that you... This is getting off topic, but, like, when you realize it as an adult, you look back and you're like, God, that's fucking fucked up.
I guess,
They're all
yeah.
teaching girls that they need to have a man to fucking have, like, mean something in their lives.
Well,
And it's,
different
like,
times.
really shitty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so glad I wasn't into this shit when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was into my scary story books. So
I did all kinds of stuff. I mean, I watched like Disney and shit like that.
Yeah.
But you can, if you can imagine, like if like a lot of the American kids were to grow up with these like scary
I
stories,
have way better children.
they might be a little bit more well behaved. Maybe, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that if we were scared to death that like something was going to kill us for being bad kids, do you think we would be bad, or there would be bad kids as much?
I would have been a perfect angel.
Yeah.
I was pretty good as it was because I didn't want to get coal for Christmas. So
One of the kids like steals their dad's gun to protect the family at night when Santa Claus might be coming because he was bad, and they shoot the mom.
yeah, like crazy shit.
Yeah,
Like,
you know,
I
like-
don't know. It could go in a really horrible,
A
place,
really
too.
bad direction too.
So who
yeah,
knows?
it's
It can
interesting
definitely
though.
go both ways, but it's a cool idea to play around with. Of like a, you know,
Well, I feel like that's a lot of the reason why it didn't really connect with us. Like, essentially, a holiday horror movie is like basically shitting all over like happiness, like the Christmas spirit or whatever. And in that way, it's like defiling it, so it's kind of like this sacred thing, right? Well, when that thing isn't really sacred to you and you really don't know the mythos behind it that much, it really doesn't have that much of an impact. So maybe it has more of an impact on those people.
I'm sure it did. I mean, obviously, if you look at how angry they got about certain things,
Oh yeah.
which, you know, I'll talk about that too.
Go ahead.
Well, like, do you want to get into the trivia part now?
Yeah,
or do you wanna do scenes first?
maybe we should talk about what is with the blackface situation.
Yeah, you're gonna take that.
Well, one thing that we wanted to bring up and talk about is in the movie there's characters that are painted their faces black, and it's just like white dudes painting their face black, which is pretty offensive even to the people that live in Amsterdam, because they're pretty open to a lot of different things, and there's
It's Amsterdam.
yeah, it's Amsterdam. Like they're like it's a little bit controversial over there. And actually, they say that the kids are the ones that are pushing that aspect of what they call Black Peter. Okay, so there's a history behind this, and I'll try to get through it as quick as I can. Basically, the character first appeared in an 1850 book by Amsterdam schoolteacher Jan Schenkman, and it's commonly depicted as a blackamoor, which is a Moor. If you're not familiar with the Moors, it's like there's a whole history on this. And it's commonly depicted as that, though. They call him Zwart Piet, Piet. And it's said to be black because he is a Moor from Spain. Those portraying Zwarte Piet typically put on blackface makeup and colorful Renaissance attire, in addition to curly wigs, red lipstick, and earrings. It says in recent years, the character has become the subject of controversy, especially in the Netherlands. So this is like not even that long ago that they're talking about the controversy. Could be like 4 years ago. It says according to a long-standing theory, first proposal by Carl Meissen, Zwarte Piet and his equivalents in Germanic Europe originally represented such an enslaved devil forced to assist his captor. The chained and fire-scorched devil may have reemerged as a black human in the early 19th century in Netherlands, in the likeness of a Moor and as a servant of Saint Nicholas. So it says a devil as a helper of the saint can be still found in the Austrian, German, Swiss, Hungarian, Czech, Slovak, and Polish St. Nicholas tradition in the characters of Krampus. So the introduction of Zwarte Piet did coincide by and large with a change in the attitude of the already existing Sinterklaas character, who had been quite severe towards bad children himself. He was actually pretty crazy about that, but I guess the Black Peets did pretty much all of his work.
Right. He kind of just stands back and watches.
Right. It's been a big thing, though, like out there. They said that St. Nicholas actually had, in fact, often been presented as a boogeyman when he was still a solitary character. Moreover, some of the same terrifying characteristics that were later associated with his servant Zwarte Piet were often attributed to St. Nicholas himself. The depiction of a holy man in this light was troubling to both teachers, priests, and more. And sometime after the introduction of Zwarte Piet as Sinterklaas' servant, both characters adopted a softer character. So a lot has changed. A lot of people changed it. I guess it was for the times. They changed the story around a little bit. So it's interesting to see how it kind of morphed into that. Mm-hmm. And it really wasn't the original story to begin with.
Right.
So it's like clearly Sinterklaas isn't real. If it's going to be changed, if it can be changed that easily. But then again, so does religion.
Yeah.
And depending on like the government.
It depends on who they want to appease at what moment.
Right, yeah, so that happens a lot too, guys, in history.
Changed constantly.
So
none of it's fucking real.
But yeah, there is blackface in the movie, so if you are offended by that, I mean, totally understandable.
I was.
I mean, it definitely is kind of like, whoa, wow, that's really happening.
Yeah, I didn't expect it.
But it's the way that they carry it out. It wasn't like, there was no point in the movie where they were trying to make fun of any kind of person of color.
Not at all. No, they were it was obviously just true to the tale.
Right.
So that's what they were sticking by. They didn't make it into it. I was a little offended just because I didn't see it coming, and I'm just like, Jesus, what the fuck? And then I was like, oh wait,
it's a different country.
It's different. That's the tale. That's the tale.
Right.
That's their fable. Like that's what, and they're in character to go to this party, so it makes sense of why they're doing it, and I doesn't excuse it, but I understand.
No. Yeah.
You know, and so I was, but I don't know. They weren't doing it in like a racist fashion, so that was
but
good.
there wasn't. We'll say this: there wasn't any people of color in the movie, not one.
I don't think there was even one.
So I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't think it was a statement about any kind of racialness, but it is a little bit controversial. There was other controversy about this movie, though.
Yeah, there was. One of the biggest things that actually happened upon the release of the actual film, or just the poster leading up to the movie, the actual movie poster that they put out had drawn the attention from various different organizations of concerned parents. Of course, we're super used to this in the United States with all these crazy moms.
Right.
And whatever the fuck they do with their lives because they have no life. So what they did is they tried boycotting the poster, which features an image of a zombie St. Nicholas and his horse, pretty much, as opposed to the friendly St. Nicholas, which the people of the Netherlands are used to. Actual Dutch director jumped on board to kind of spearhead this whole thing for these like concerned parents.
Right.
His name is Johan Nijenhuis. So he was actually the whole spokesperson to spearhead this campaign and movement to get this fucking movie poster taken down and getting rid of, basically, or changed.
Which, by the way, guys, just as a side note, anytime that you try to bury something that you don't want children to see, you raise its awareness to everyone. Yeah. So literally, this gave this movie more fucking people than it needed. It made it bigger than it was.
Yeah, it was stupid.
Yeah.
It was just a stupid move. But so he actually ended up taking the case to court, which is ridiculous to me that this actually ended up in a court case, or for them to have a judge and sit down in front of them and to actually discuss this. He said, the idea behind why he took it to court was that this poster is going to damage the festive season and cause trauma to young children.
Right.
Pretty much. So they're going to take away the spirit of Christmas, or whatever.
Yeah,
Christmas,
defile
I guess,
it
is what they celebrate. But so director Dick Moss did go to the court case and argued to the judge that basically if parents could make their children believe in St. Nicholas and the fable behind him on its own, then they can also inform and teach their children that the poster that he released for this movie isn't real.
Right.
And the judge actually agreed with him, and they ruled in favor of Dick and the movie. Mm-hmm. And he said that he noted that the mutilated face wasn't even visible enough on the poster, and he rejected all the complaints.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. But
one for the good guys, I guess.
I guess, yeah. I actually saw somewhere that they had looked into it a little bit more and saw that this director jumping on board of it was actually a big part for publicity.
Oh,
so it
to
may
get
have
his
been
name
a
out
minor
there.
Publicity stunt. I don't know for him or for the movie.
Well, that goes to
But
show
they
you
didn't,
how big this movie was,
Yeah,
because I mean they don't really have that many movies coming out of that area. I mean, I'm sure they do. They actually do, but I mean, this caused enough controversy. Like again, that's that walled-in garden, so we don't really know about all those movies. It's like they never come over here.
Yeah, it's really hard to get this here.
Yeah, you know
surprisingly.
what's really
Can't get
funny?
the original.
It's like you see Netflix like kind of adapting to like Bollywood movies.
Mm-hmm. And they
Like
have
maybe that'll be the next explosion.
they have so many Japanese films too, and all these different other types of foreign.
Right. Maybe that'll be the next thing though. Is like stuff from the Netherlands and
I'm hoping so, because that's really
there's a lot
buried.
of shit
There
out
is
there.
a lot.
Like
There's a
I'm
lot.
so surprising after these last 2 weeks. Like we're like, what the fuck? Like I've never heard of any of these.
Yeah, exactly. Like any of these movies that we've been talking about from last week and this week, like there's all these crazy films that we're like, holy fuck, these sound really cool. We've never fucking heard of them before.
Well, there are movies like there's a movie called Ant Boy that got kind of big, and I believe it's from that same area that got out. I guess it's really hard to climb that wall with a film like that, but Ant Boy made it on, and then there's like 3 of them now. Like they just pump them out. Weird. I never even saw the first one, but I remember seeing it and going, it kind of like got on my radar somehow because I was like, oh, what's this?
Yeah.
Anyway, is there any other trivia that we have about this?
No, not really. I didn't find anything that was noteworthy.
Okay.
Essentially, like other than the 2 big pieces of controversy that were surrounding this movie, which I felt were the most interesting.
Yeah, it's really kind of
There's a lot behind it.
controversial altogether, right?
Yeah, it had big pieces that actually made it into a bigger success, I guess,
Right.
than they anticipated. So it's good for them for that. But
He hasn't really done that much
bad
else.
publicity
so,
is good
yeah.
publicity. So
Yeah, I guess so.
well, he's done a lot. He's actually has a lot of movies that are in post-production or in production now, or that he's finished for 2017.
Okay.
He's a pretty big director over there. He does a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And like I said, the other 2 films, that Amsterdam and then The Lift, are 2 I had actually heard of. So they were
Okay.
pretty big because those did cross over.
I do remember The Lift, but I don't remember what it's about. I think I saw a trailer for it or something like that.
Yeah.
So should we do our favorite scenes?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to start us off?
Yeah. Okay, so one of the first things that I noticed in the movie that I thought was a little bit like culture shock, like different kind of world that we're looking at, and like how we would never get away with that kind of shit here, or maybe it's just a fake world that he wrote that isn't exactly the same over there, but the way they handled it and how not shocked they were about it makes me wonder if that's just part of the culture. But it's not uncommon to think like sexual anything is kind of normal outside of anywhere, in Disney or AKA the United States.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
But college students in the opening scene is like, you see these college students give each other dildos. And he's like, oh, that'll make the 5th one this year. That makes it the
There's
winner.
like 7, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
maybe you're right. It was like, that beat the last one by 2 for last year. Like it's this game. I'm like essentially what's happening in this story is like these kids are going up to the front of the class, and they're like having to do this presentation where they open the gift, that some secret Santa gift that they get from somebody in the classroom, and they open it in front of everybody and then talk about it. And everybody keeps getting dildos in it. And they write these like poems that rhyme that they have to read from Sinterklaas.
Yeah, I think that's part of the actual gift exchange, like, tradition.
I don't know.
In that culture,
I have no
because
clue.
the one girl has to write all those poems for her family.
Oh.
And I think that's something that you have to write a poem for each person that you give a gift to or something, and that maybe it relates to the gift and why you're giving them that.
Maybe.
Or something. Like
Well, they were reading it from Sinterklaas.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like it's a letter from him or a poem from him, I believe, but she had to write those for her family too, so that's what leads me to believe that it's part of the tradition.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they just got like dildos laying out on desks, and
Yeah,
it's
and
just
they're
like
smacking people with them, and I'm just like, well, I mean, I have been told many times by friends that are people that I've met that are from other countries that we are giant fucking prudes.
Right.
In America.
Well, we're secret crazy people.
We are, yeah.
Sexual
we're closeted.
deviants.
We're
like,
closeted
sexual deviants, yeah.
But I mean, exchange student that I knew in high school, you know, she said in Germany, like, people will just grab you on the street and kiss you if they want to kiss you. Like, they just, and all of you Americans are fucking prudes.
Wow.
Like, you don't care, or you don't understand anything, and you just think that everything is wrong, and you're not open to anything sexual and whatever. And I'm like, oh, fuck. All right. Well, I mean, I don't fuck on the street, but like,
yeah, right.
I understand where you're coming from because she's not wrong.
Just hand out dildos.
It is completely different.
Like, if you were to hand out someone a dildo in the street, that would be sexual assault.
Yeah, you get in trouble for that shit.
Yeah, you would.
Which you wouldn't get in trouble. You'd obviously, I mean, look at Amsterdam.
Yeah, but it's funny because, like, here in the United States, it's like, you know, there are some things that we get away with that other countries don't. Like, if you look at, like, Australia, and we were talking about Craig Anderson, they're super strict. You can't even play fucking video games. They, like, censor everything. So it can be...
It goes both ways.
It can go both ways, like different areas, but yeah.
When it comes to sexual things.
When it comes to sex, though, like, we're the big no-no. Like, you can cut the fuck off a child's head in a fucking movie before you can show tits on the screen. Or,
basically.
Yeah. I mean, seriously.
Or a dick.
Yeah.
Because you can
like,
show
even
tits all day long.
The ratings board here is just, like, crazy about that. But they're being a little bit more open now because I think, you know, we're getting in younger. They're
getting better, and they're actually being, like, more open to television jumping
and
things like that, too, where, you know, they're loosening the reins a bit on what they allow.
Right.
But, yeah, there's always a big problem of, like, you can show tits and full-on pussy, like, all day, every day, but you can't, God forbid, you want to show one fucking wiener in a show or a movie, and it's like over. You know, you get one little quick glimpse of
that sweet man meat
person's dick or something, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, I always used to get so mad about Game of Thrones. But anyways,
what's one of your favorite? What's one of your? I've never even seen Game of Thrones, but like 2 episodes.
Shame.
So yeah, whatever. Shame. Ring the bell, bitch.
I'm going to. I had a fucking bell.
Say
right
I
now
know that much.
Ringing it. Shame. Anyways,
what's one of your favorite scenes?
I actually really this will go back a little bit, but I actually really like the scene with in not the opening one, but the secondary when they're in the 50s, and so you're first introduced to the kid and his family, and you see this is like Sinterklaas revenge form, so it's like all zombified or whatever, and gross. I thought it was cool. It was really well done how they did it, and the people snuck into their house and stuff, and like the mom goes into the kitchen to get something, and she pulls it off of the shelf, and then all of a sudden you just see like in the background there's like someone's eyes, and they're like behind the pantry.
Oh, okay.
You know, so like half of the black Pete's are already in the house.
Right.
And you're like, oh fuck, shit's about to go down. And obviously you think the kid that goes out to check on the pigs is gonna get killed first, but it doesn't happen that way.
Right.
They come in and kill his whole fucking family. And then he just comes into blood fucking everywhere. And it was just visually a really stunning scene, actually. It sounds super fucked up to say that, but visually it was gorgeous. It was all kind of Christmas colored.
Yeah.
So it was almost like done in the lights, like filmed by light of Christmas lights. What it reminded me of, it was very warm and kind of cheery.
Yeah.
Which was
these
super fucked up, but they were getting ready to do their...
It's actually well shot movie.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like there was...
it's not like super artistic, but it's like well shot.
Very well shot. The cinematography and shit was stunning.
It's kind of like by the book.
Very. I just... And I know if Christina watches it, she's going to have a lot of problems with the CGI because I did.
Yeah, there was a lot.
There was a lot of really bad CGI.
I don't know.
Some of it was pretty good, though. So, I mean, it went back and forth. But I did really like that scene. I like the initial introduction to St. Nicholas before he's killed.
Well, and
too.
it also shows you that they're willing to go there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They took it fucking balls to the wall. Like, within
Well,
the first
I don't
10
know. I don't
minutes
want to
of
say
the
balls
movie.
to
They
the
went
wall.
But they killed the first person that kills a kid.
If you're killing kids, you've already taken a step further than most.
Exactly.
But they didn't show it.
No,
just
they don't
showed
show
blood.
it. You just know what's happening.
Right.
And it's two of them, like right off the bat. Bam. Those are the first ones that go are two kids, and I'm all nice.
One of the little
Get it.
ones that I want to mention, by the way, is Kurt, the kid that grows up from that experience, who survives that attack from 1958, and grows up. He goes into the police station, and someone put like a gift on the desk.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like fires the gun in the police station like 5 times at the gift, and the chief yells at the guys for giving a present to him instead of him.
For shooting the fucking
Yeah, because every
present.
year they
'Cause
do this to
it,
him. Yeah. Because he hates Christmas because of what it represents, what it truly represents, while everybody else glorifies Saint Nick.
Right. Well, he knows what's coming.
Yeah, because it
And
killed his family.
No one listens to him, and no one
Right.
believes it. No one cares, and they're like, they just never found the guy or whatever. Like,
Right.
never found the people, and he's like, fuck you guys, because he knows exactly what happened, but he has no way he can convince anyone.
Right.
So that's why he's made this like grand master plan to, do 40 fucking years later.
Right.
So,
What other scene do you like?
I really loved the scene of when they're chasing after Saint Nicholas on the horse, and he's on the rooftops.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was fucking cool. And then all of a sudden, when the horse falls through the ceiling,
Yeah, that was
and it's
funny.
like this gay couple,
Yeah.
and it was fucking hilarious. Like
Yeah.
their little like quippy like comments back and forth about it were so fucking funny. Like, and
Yeah.
it was just really cute. And then the horse falls back through the ceiling, down again, and then out eventually on top of the police car.
Right. Yeah, that was
And-
pretty funny.
And of course, I'm like, no, poor horsey. I feel all bad. I'm like, no. And then it's already dead. So,
Right, but it gets back up.
but it gets back up, which they did that really well. It's like I was wondering how they were gonna do it because it goes from CGI to a real horse,
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
and I was like, how are they gonna do this? But they
Well, it had
did
some practical
really
effects in
good
there.
cut back or whatever camera
Mm-hmm.
tricks. Back and forth between Frank's character to the horse. So then and then it worked very seamlessly how the horse was all of a sudden like up, and it looks like he's coming from the opposite side of the car where he would have gotten up. So it was done really well. But then the horse goes to St. Nicholas, who is at the other end of, this alley, and he just walks out, and he just looks so fucking cool. And that was what's one of my favorite shots, actually, of him, because it's just, this dark kind of alley that he's coming out of, and it's all cobblestone and gorgeous, and it's kind of rainy, and he's just this dark, looming figure, and he looks fucking creepy, and he looks amazing, and then you get this fucking zombie horse that's, like, walking
Well,
towards
it's not
him.
really a zombie. It looks normal.
Well, it
it has
has
like that one little brain patch.
Yeah, but he's got scars and all kinds of shit all over him.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be like a zombified horse, and the little brain patch is terrible on his head.
Yeah, it
I'm
really
like,
looks
What is
fake.
that? That
Yeah.
looks so stupid. All of them actually do.
Right.
Especially the big one that's like on his hind leg.
Right.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
like, really, guys? But I mean, I get it. Like, he can't really do that great of makeup on a fucking horse. So,
Yeah.
like, when it's a real horse.
one other part that I thought before that happened, the guys that are wearing blackface that are dressed up as Black Pete's, and then Frank is dressed up as the Saint. They're in the car, and one of them has to pee, and then he goes to pee, and then he actually is talking about Black Pete's or something like that, and all of a sudden the Black Pete's like kill him, and then there's this like whole fight scene with Black Pete's, and like Saint Nick has this big ass S staff.
Yeah, that was dope.
He was like cutting people up, but Frank gets away in the car, and like I think the thing gets stuck in the side of the car, the like staff or something like that, or a spear or something, and it cuts one of the Black Pete's in half, and he runs over the body. It was pretty cool.
That was cool. There's a lot of really cool gore. in
Yeah,
this
there was
movie.
actually some decent gore, and it wasn't like overwhelming, but it was decent. Do you have any other ones? Another one or?
Yeah, actually. So my favorite kill scene is when they are trying, like, the police and stuff have pulled up, and they've ambushed like Frank's character and Gowert's character, and when they're about to, the like time thing's ticking on the bomb because he's about to like blow up the ship,
Okay.
and then all of a sudden, Saint Nicholas and the Black Pete's and shit surround them, and they start killing everybody.
Right.
And Saint Nicholas's character on the horse like takes his staff.
Yes, that's
and,
the
like,
one.
wraps it down around.
He slams it on the dude's head, one of the cops' heads.
He slams it down on his fucking neck, and the staff wraps around it because it's not all the way.
Yeah, it goes over his head like a hoop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he slams it down on him, so it's sitting around his neck, and it's already cutting him. So then he kind of yanks it towards him a little bit, so you hear the noises were great.
Yeah.
You just hear it like sink into this dude, right? And then all of a sudden he just flicks it around, and it swings around a couple of times.
Yeah, spins.
And you can hear it slicing into the dude's neck, and then he grabs it and it stops, and he just pulls the guy's fucking head off, and it was so cool.
That was a cool scene.
That.
That was a really cool scene.
That's my favorite kill scene.
That was the one I was gonna say too. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured we probably were gonna be in the same panel, but the same idea with that. But the staff is sick as fuck as it is. It's a cool piece.
Right.
And then I was glad they utilized it for a really cool kill.
Yeah, that was kind of good. It didn't make any sense. It would never fit around someone's head. It was never big enough for that.
No.
But it's just comical.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was really cool, though, to watch.
And, of course, without ruining the end, because if you guys want to check this out, it really doesn't matter. I don't really think the ending was all that fantastic.
No.
It was pretty typical, kind of typical shit. I liked kind of how they, tell the story afterwards, though, so you guys want to stick around for the credits, because they kind of, talk about it a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So, but overall, I don't know, man. It's an okay movie.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
There's good parts in it that make me appreciate it, but as a whole, I don't think it landed as well as it probably should have.
Yeah, and I still hold true to the fact that I was underwhelmed.
Yeah, it's a good word for it. It's underwhelming a little bit, yeah.
But I do agree that I probably would have appreciated it more if I knew their belief system or
because you're trying to compare it the whole time.
But if I knew their fable behind it or what their viewpoints are on
story,
it, their
fictional
story
fact,
or whatever.
Yeah.
If I grew up believing that
totally
instead of just the legend of Santa, which is so boring. I would rather have Sinterklaas.
And you guys can rent that on Amazon. We rented it. I think it was $4. Mm-hmm. You have to type in Saint English dubbed, and you'll find it for Amazon Video. Otherwise, you will not find it.
It's not even on...
And it's actually hard to find anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere that you try to find it. So
it's literally nowhere.
That's the one place we found it, and we said, fuck it, we'll just rent it. So, but there is another movie that we did pick, and it actually comes from Amazon Prime Video, which is free if you have the service. You can watch this right now in full glory, 1080p. But it's a Cadaver Christmas from 2010.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And so the story goes, a bloody janitor walks into a bar. That's essentially
like a bad joke. Yeah, this is a perfect setup for a joke.
That's exactly what I think. I feel like it almost kind of balanced off. But the real story is, united by terrifying and bizarre circumstances, the janitor, the drunk, the bartender, the cop, his perp, and the student security guard must fight to undo the professor's work. A dark force is at work in a cadaver lab this Christmas, and this unconventional band of heroes are the only hope the world has against an army of living corpses that are quickly recruiting new members. The undead have been given the gift of life, and it's up to the janitor to take it back.
Did you write that?
No.
Oh my God, that's glorious. It is a setup for a terrible joke, perfectly.
It totally is.
So
a bloody janitor walks into a bar.
Yeah, and oh God, where's this going?
So this movie was written and directed by Joe Zarul, who did shorts like The Newscaster, Redhead, Cheese Fries, most of which I had a hard time finding, by the way. I tried to watch some of them because I was curious, but I couldn't find them. I didn't do a big search on Vimeo or anything. It's also written and acted in by Daniel Radin Hale, who plays the janitor. He acted in Sons and Daughters of Thunder, shorts like Skippy Love, which he wrote too, because Skippy Love Chicago, but he wrote that one. He's also in Harold's Gift, another short. Also has writer and actor Hanlon Smith Dorsey, who plays Tom, which he acted in So You Like Your Neighborhood. Yeah, that's the name of it. Walking the Dead and Mr. Lamb short. The Walking the Dead and Mr. Lamb are both shorts. Some of the other cast, though, in this movie is Yosh Hayashi, who plays Officer Sam. He was in Followed and a short film, An Honest Life. Also has Ben Hopkins, who plays Bartender Eddie. He was in Redhead and Cheese Fries short, which the director also did, plus a feature film called Psycho Magnet. So, what are your thoughts on this movie, Brittany?
All right. I am on the complete opposite side of the spectrum for this movie as I was the last.
Right, okay.
I was completely, like, thrilled
Right.
about this because it was, I don't know, not what I expected at all. It was better than what I expected. So I went into it with, like, fucking no expectations. I didn't even read what it was about before I watched it. I was just like, fuck it. Like, the picture looks terrible. It's probably going to suck, but I don't care. Like, it'll at least be a fun ride. And, I mean, it's cheesy, but it's not cheesy at the same time. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. Like, it seems so low budget.
It's aware of itself. That's what it is.
But it's not low budget, but it, like, knows it's a joke. But they still do. I don't know. I loved it. I fucking loved it. And I mean, I love, like, comic horror, obviously. Like, probably one of my favorite, like, mixes.
It's probably like the same thing. I don't know if you got to listen to the interview, but Craig Anderson was saying that too.
Yeah.
He was saying that he's done research and studied and did like a doctorate's degree in fucking acting, and comedy and horror have a very common
They do. It's a very
trait.
common thread. Like,
Yeah, like they both kind of like ignite some sort of uncomfortableness is what comedy and horror thrive on.
Yeah.
So,
I
anyway.
mean, but there's dark humor, which is my favorite kind of humor.
Right.
And just a lot of really cool things. And it's an original story. So that's kind of what I enjoyed most about it is they took, it's so hard to do anything original with the zombie genre. It's fucking difficult.
I will say there is another movie that you actually suggested before we watched this one.
I know.
That I had no idea this was like.
Yeah.
It's called Stalled.
As we were watching this, I was like,
Yeah, I was
fuck,
like,
this is what it worked
I
so
know,
good with Stalled.
But we had already watched like the Saint or Saint or
It's
something.
okay.
Yeah.
We can always do Stalled another time.
Yeah, we'll do it next year.
Because it's fucking funny.
Right.
It's really cool. And that's an enclosed space movie, too.
Right. But
Which
those
are
would have been
fucked up.
perfectly paired together.
Oh, yeah.
I would have called it Janitor of the Dead.
But we both didn't realize that this was focused on a janitor.
Yeah, I was like, if we watch both of these, I was like thinking Janitor or Janitors of the Dead would have made more sense.
It was fun. But yeah, I had a really good time watching this movie. Cool story.
Yeah.
And like I said, it is very impossible to get a good original spin on the zombie genre, but they did a decent job of trying to do that.
Right.
And they tied it in relatively well and did some explanation. It ran a little long for me in a lot of ways, like it was a little slow in some parts, but
Right.
where it didn't need to be, but they had good enough filler moments in those slow parts that made it better. So I don't know, I really liked it. It was fun. You fell in love with the characters too, which I liked. You were able to actually like get to know them in a way, and especially like the four like main ones that you're introduced to in the beginning.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
Yeah, one of the things I thought about it's like this movie kind of plays on that whole retro style. Like if you've ever seen any of the Astron 6 guys movies, like the ones that do all the like sort of fake ones like BioCop or Father's Day, or they did that other movie we watched, The Editor. It's kind of like those along those lines. So you kind of know that it's going to be a silly ride, but this is probably even lower budget than what those guys even get.
Oh, for sure.
It's but they do it pretty well.
Yeah.
I never really felt uncomfortable with the acting or anything. I got it, and they all kind of flowed and worked well together. So there wasn't like this like underwhelming performance from anybody. It was all kind of on the same par. Although there were better actors than some, but they were kind of in that same.
Everybody was kind of on the same element.
Right, but it's super over the top and silly. While the movie wasn't like gut-splitting funny, it's still really enjoyable. And I think it's kind of like a hidden holiday horror gem that people should check out, because it's like I totally missed it. I never watched it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
One thing I love about this podcast is that I'm watching more and more horror movies that I would have never seen had it not been for this podcast, because I had this weird, choice picking of movies or whatever. And I do love to watch anything, but I think my tastes are expanding a little bit more because of this podcast, so it's kind of nice. But the humor sometimes does miss a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
But it's more about having fun than worrying about all those stupid little minor complaints anyway. So it has like a lot of homemade gore and blood, something that your friends would make, but did really well at it. I don't know how to explain it. And I did enjoy it more than I thought I was going to. Like, I thought the main guy's serious super janitor acting,
Great.
which was like Bruce Campbell janitor, was very awesome.
Yeah, this movie is completely a fucking nod to Evil Dead.
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah.
Big fucking time.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, and then
big time.
Yeah, they hold up in a like college school and everything like that, so it's kind of interesting. Like
Yeah.
the whole movie, by the way, starts off with this bloody janitor walking into the bar and talking to the bartender and one of the patrons, who is Tom. So it's Eddie, Tom, and him. So it's interesting. And then he kind of tells this wacky tale about what happened as a janitor and how he had to clean up this big mess. And it became apparent that there was a bigger mess that he could clean, but he felt like he had to do it anyway because it's the janitor's job. And so he fights off these
He has a duty
zombies.
to not leave a giant mess. Or whatever.
Right.
I can't leave any mess uncleaned or whatever. The
Right.
fuck
Yeah,
his,
that's
like,
it. Yeah,
excuse
that's
was.
what it
It's
is.
Hilarious.
Yeah, that's funny.
It was so ridiculous, and like obviously, like his fucking mop is his boomstick.
Right.
And I loved it. I loved all the little subtle referencing to Evil Dead. There's even a fucking Evil Dead poster
In the background.
in
yeah.
his janitor closet
Right.
in the background, but they have it peeled down oh so delicately to not show that it's Evil Dead. You don't see the name.
Right. They didn't
But
want to
you
get
can
in
see
trouble.
like the E and the V, and then you can see it's obviously the poster. And I'm like, ha,
Right.
we already knew, but then you confirmed it.
Right.
Like,
And he even has the blue jump jacket, the
everything.
shirt, you know.
Yeah, it was hilarious with his name on it and shit. Or
They
whatever.
did a lot of shots like they do in the Evil Dead with like real close face shots and stuff.
It was like a, dare I say, even maybe a lower budget than Evil Dead.
Well, yeah,
But, yeah.
definitely. I'm
was
pretty
cool.
sure it was lower budget than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they pulled a lot of favors in this one. Mm-hmm. So do you want to jump into some of the trivia? Or no, we should probably explain a little bit more. So after the bloody janitor goes into the bar, meets Tom and bartender Eddie, a cop shows up and comes through the front door, and he's like, "What the hell is going on out here?" You know, like...
You got all these fucking crazy people in your parking lot.
Right, and he's like, "Why are you covered in blood?" And like, we're taking you in, and like they get in this like car that's not a police officer's car, and part of me like wondered like, well, they couldn't get a police officer's car, and so they
had to make this weird story.
Yeah,
about
they had
him.
to make this weird story for it or whatever, but it was kind of funny. But yeah, he puts him in the.
It's like in the back of his like regular, like not an El Camino, but like a
Just a
regular car.
It almost looked like kind of like it was a throw to Evil Dead again, like the yellow Delta 88.
Yeah.
Then he tells them this story, and they're like, "Well, why didn't you call the police?" You know, and he's like, "I tried. I was
that's
on."
so funny.
That whole running gag. We'll explain that in a second. But so they drive to the place, and he's like, "Why aren't we going to the police station?" He's like, "Well, we got to take care of this problem." And they were like, "Oh, Jesus." So they all kind of team together and do it and fight off the dead. But he doesn't call them zombies. That's the thing. He calls them cadavers.
The cadavers.
Yeah.
Every time someone says like dead or zombie, or he's like cadavers.
Yeah, he's like,
super
no.
serious.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Cadavers. Mm-hmm. So then when everybody finally gets to the point where they're actually saying cadavers, there's like that one moment where he says zombie.
Yeah.
It's like, you motherfucker.
It was funny. He's like, wait, you've been saying cadavers all fucking night, and now all of a sudden they're a fucking zombie? And
He's like,
just
well,
well, yeah.
there's two different types. I've realized that some of the most recently infected are zombies, are cadavers, but the ones that aren't, who die after being infected, become cadavers. And it's like,
It was
what?
Ridiculous. Yeah. It was so funny.
It totally makes sense if you think about it.
does.
Some of the trivia on this is pretty interesting. The lead actor, Daniel Radin Hale, he's the janitor, plays, and then Joe, the director, met in college, and he had him act in certain things. Like they did film challenges together and fun things like that. And the lead actor had like a story idea that he wanted to do because he was doing films as well, sort of. They did this one documentary on one of their friends because they were like college roommates. Mm-hmm. And the whole red hooded guy in the movie, did you recognize that guy?
No.
You sure?
Red hooded guy. What the fuck are you talking about?
Do you remember in the movie where there was a guy that grabbed a stapler off the desk, and at the end he was in the background with a
Yeah.
and then he hits janitor over the head and clicks the stapler.
Yeah.
That guy is based off the documentary that they did of their friend.
Oh.
So it was like one of the original films, and that's kind of like their little inside joke
Oh, cute.
that they did with their roommate. So it's sort of like this thing.
I like it.
They didn't actually talk about that, but I pieced it together from all the like different stuff. I actually don't have the DVD. I just watched it on Amazon. So you know what I mean? I didn't have all the access to that info. They worked on a short though. It was called Skippy Love Chicago, which is what Dan's idea was about a robot in Chicago. But the movie was actually based off a short film with the same name. It was called A Cadaver Lab. It's pretty much the very beginning of the movie. They just redid that.
Neat.
And that was the film they did. But the lead actor, Dan said, hey, let me make a feature length of that movie. And Joe, the director, thought he would never do it. Like, he was like, yeah, you say you're going to do it, but you're not. So he just never put any thought into it. And then he actually did. And Joe actually read it and was like, yeah, this is horrible. He's like, but this part's really cool. I really like this part. Maybe we can build on that. And then they went back and forth over all these different edits and everything. And then once they did, they got help from somebody else to help finish writing it up and make it perfect. And all the one-liners in the movie are the director, Joe. Okay? All the, like, friendship tidbits are Dan. So they kind of, and you know, Tom, the character Tom that plays Tom, his name is Hanlon Smith Dorsey. He also wrote on that as well. So I just thought it was kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. But that's pretty much all I had for the trivia.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot.
I mean, I did scour for some, and, you know.
I couldn't find anything, so I was amazed that you found anything at all.
Yeah, no.
That was relatable.
Yeah, no, I found, I searched for quite a few hours just to make sure that I got anything I could. But what are some of your favorite scenes for this one?
I'll start it off in the beginning. I like when he's kind of starting to recant his tale of what's going on at the school. So when he is showing, like, when he's mopping up the floor and he's talking about everybody making such a fucking mess.
Yeah.
Shit, which is hilarious.
Just angry.
Yeah, and he's super mad when he's telling the story, and then all of a sudden he just, like, sees, like, a couple blood drops on the floor, and he's cleaning those up, and then it's just a fucking sea of blood everywhere, and he's just like, what the fuck? Like, what is, like, really? Like, these goddamn college kids or whatever, you know, and then all of a sudden he looks up, and then the cadavers are coming at him.
He's following the breadcrumbs, or in this case, the blood trails.
Yeah, the blood crumbs.
Yeah, and that was pretty funny.
Everybody's like, you know, Tom and Eddie, like, don't fucking believe jack shit of what he's saying, and they're just like, what the fuck ever. Like, they keep fucking with him the whole time, and it's really funny.
Right.
It's a cool exchange between those characters.
One of the funnier characters, I thought, you remember when that cop shows up at the bar,
Sam,
and he has a perp. He calls him perp in the movie. It becomes apparent that he was fucking a goat. And that he loved the goat, and like he was really defensive.
We're gonna get married.
Yeah, we were gonna get married. So, and then you find out like the cop is like he was a canine officer who had a dog that he trained with, and he lost his job because of the situation where the dog attacked somebody, and he didn't have it under control or something, and so then the dog got put down, and it was dead, and he kept the squeaky toy from it, and so he was like, yeah, you got fired, and he was like, oh, so I guess I can go? Like the goat fucker guy.
So I guess I can go.
Yeah, and meanwhile, while the cop and the janitor are arguing back and forth, everybody kind of goes their own way. The perp guy, the goat fucker, actually goes into one of the corpses' rooms, and he starts fucking this corpse. He looks at it like it's this attractive woman, but it's really just a fucking moldy, bloody, fucking raisin-looking corpse. But yeah, he starts, I mean, it's not my favorite scene or anything.
No, it was completely unnecessary.
But it was like, wow, they're really dedicated to this part, aren't they? Like,
I was just like, and with the sound effects and everything.
Yeah, that was really.
Like, first of all, the scene's completely unnecessary.
But you have to point it out, you know what I mean?
You have to talk about it, yeah. But I was just like, this is so not needed for this. Why? Why is this in here? Like,
why have you forsaken me?
Why have you forsaken me? Stop fucking a corpse. Like, if I want to watch a movie where you fuck corpses, I'm gonna watch a movie where you fuck corpses. That's what it's about. But I don't want to like watch this movie and then just see random corpse fucking for no fucking reason.
I don't know. It's kind of hot.
Like,
he was like, but do you remember what happened after that though? Because like the cop or the janitor shows up and they're like. He's like, oh, shit. He's like, seems like someone's been getting busy in here or something like that.
His fucking one-liners were spot fucking on.
But he didn't even know that he was fucking a corpse.
No.
So it was like kind of like a weird...
I don't know if he... I can't remember if he like saw him or not.
No, he didn't see him.
He knew he was up
But
to
the
something.
cop guy did.
Oh, yeah.
Or the Tom guy did. I can't remember. Somebody saw him doing
saw
it.
him doing it. Yeah.
He was like, I was just checking something.
No, it was the janitor because he stabs the corpse in the head with the broom.
Right.
Because it comes alive when he's fucking it.
Right.
And so it is the janitor that sees him. And then Sam and everybody rushes in after that.
But he acts like he didn't see it.
He does. He doesn't bring it up. But I feel like he wants to. Like, you feel like he wants to say something about it. And he's like, that's why he says what he does, is he's trying to hint at that something was going on. But the guy, the cop's character, keeps shutting him down. He doesn't want to listen to what he has to say.
Right, yeah. That's weird, though.
It was weird. I was like, I would have called his ass out, corpse fucker. What the fuck's wrong with you? Like, I would have shoved the broom in his head.
What's another one of your favorite scenes?
I love every scene with Tom.
Really?
Literally every scene with Tom.
I never came around to him until about halfway through the movie.
He gets better halfway through, but he's just he's kind of a throwaway character before, like, prior to that, but he's still kind of
kind of annoying at first.
I didn't think it was annoying, but I just thought he was fun. But I like when
it's like Barney in fucking The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Like it's almost
so
like
he's lovable.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Also kind of annoying, but I like the scene when they meet up with the 911 not the 911 operator, but the college girl.
Yes.
So this will explain the gag for.
Yeah, we should explain the gag and then that's part.
So when he's talking about, well, why didn't you call the police or whatever, and when he's in the bar, he explains that he tried to call the police, but every phone call that comes from inside the campus, the college campus, 911, it gets rerouted to the college security campus security first.
Yeah.
So they can try and determine
if it's a worthy enough 911 call.
If it's actually an emergency. Yeah. And so he calls and he gets this girl, and he's like trying to explain to her he needs to get patched to the police, but she's not believing anything that he's saying. And then they just have this hilarious exchange where they're fucking arguing with each other, and he's just like, so you're telling me if I'm gonna get raped and murdered by a fucking rapist murderer, and he comes into my dorm room and I have to call 911 and I get you, and you have to determine if me being raped and murdered is a good enough fucking excuse to call the police. Now, by the time you patch me into the fucking police, I'm gonna get raped and murdered because that's what the rape murderer is there to do. Like, it was just fucking hilarious.
They have that like 4 times in the movie.
Oh, back and forth. Yeah, and it is a running gag.
It's
throughout.
really, actually, I really love that part. That was one of my favorite things about the movie. It's just that it's so stupid, but it's so funny because like you forget about it like a couple times. Mm-hmm. Like because they do it with the professor who started this whole bullshit.
Yep.
He tries to call and he's like, I tried to call. Like he's like you read the notes. He's like writing it in his diary about how he couldn't reach the police because of the security.
Stupid campus security.
Right.
Yeah, and then she goes into this thing of like, I'm 3 years into my 4-year criminal justice degree.
Yeah.
And like, and I've been security guard for 2 of them. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But so that's the gag, basically. It runs throughout the entire film in a couple different parts. Including later when she's gone and they try to call.
That's right, yeah.
And she's not there because she's with them.
No, she calls herself.
Yeah, she calls 911.
Yeah, she's like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm calling the police.
Yeah.
And they have this big discussion, and then you're not even thinking about it because of what they're talking about. And then she picks it up, and you think, oh, well, she's probably got like some secret password that she can cut through. And she's like, no one answered.
Yeah. It was so funny. It was just so nonchalant. I'm like,
it's
Jesus.
like you get a taste of your own medicine, bitch.
Yeah, it's great.
It was funny.
But so anyway, they are like going through the college. They're trying to get to the professor's office, and then they run into her.
Yeah,
this little security guard, and then obviously her and the cop guy have a little thing going on. Where she's like into him and he's kind of into her and he feels it. So he's like...
Well, she's only into him because she thinks he's a police officer and she wants to be a cop.
Yeah.
But she's not even really into him. She just wants to get into the police force. So she plays nice with him. But the other guy's like really into her. Like he wants her. That's what I got from it.
Yeah, it was funny. But their interaction is great.
Well, one of the ones that I can point out before we get to the Tom start so you can do your first one of it. There is a part where... earmuffs, guys, if you don't want to be anything spoiled, I mean, you pretty much figured this by now, like anything that we talk about in our favorite scenes is probably going to spoil stuff for you. But just to give you a heads up, Officer Sam does die, and you can see him getting eaten. And while he's getting eaten, you hear the squeaky toy that he had for... that was just a nice little touch. Mm-hmm. You hear it?
It was fucking adorable.
It was funny. What about your favorite Toms? The first Tom scene that you like?
Well, my first Tom scene, man.
Because there's two that I remember.
There's one in particular that I really, really love, but I think you and I both really like that one, so I'll let you tell it.
All
but
right.
I really liked when Tom tries to be a badass.
Right.
So when he realizes that, because basically he's a fucking giant pussy, he doesn't know what the fuck to do, and
the janitor gets knocked out first by the red hooded dude.
Yeah, so they decide that they want to try and they're gonna try to, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but
they barricade the walls up and everything.
Yeah,
for the zombies to
get in.
And
then they break in, and then he gets knocked out by the dude with the red hoodie.
Yeah, with the stapler.
Yeah. So he's knocked out on the ground, and so Tom is like, well, fuck. Like, he doesn't want him to get eaten by zombies. So, and this is before Sam gets killed, too.
Right.
So he decides, what does he pick up? Was he pick up the fucking mop or something? Can't remember what he picks up.
Who's
Tom.
he? Oh, he picks up the shovel.
Yeah, he picks up the shovel, and he's just like, all of a sudden you think he's going to do this, like, amazing shit, right? Like, because he's, like, charged and he's ready. And he, like, fucking, like, comes in and does nothing.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But then he drags the janitor off.
Yeah, well, this is when Sam comes to them.
Before that part, there's that, like, the janitor and him have a discussion about how Tom's pretty much useless. They have to, like, sit and wait.
Yeah.
But there was that scene where Tom is supposed to be putting up all the Christmas stuff because they're like trying to find something that they can fight the zombies with, and all they can find is Christmas decorations. And he's like, use these lights. And then Tom, he's like, oh, I put them up on the wall to try to distract the zombies.
He's so cute. And I love it when he's like, oh, candy canes. He's like, can I have one of these candy canes? Can I have one? If I can have one, can't have it. Just say no. Say something. Okay, I'm gonna eat it in 3, 2, 1. He's like eating.
Yeah,
the
that's pretty funny.
Cute.
But the scene you're getting up to is when he drags the janitor off, right?
Into the closet. Yeah.
Tell that.
So Tom drags the janitor into the closet and barricades the door, might I add, with like a mop bucket or something.
It's just around a corner.
And he's like, he can't even, he's trying to close the door, but the janitor's legs are obviously in the way of the door. So he lifts one leg and then tries to push the door. Obviously he can't, so then he has to go get the other leg. And then it's just so, the exchange in that is so ridiculous. How he's trying to just close the door and then push the bucket in the way to block it. But anyway, so the janitor's passed the fuck out, knocked out cold. And Tom starts having this conversation with him.
Because he's bored.
Because he's bored out of his fucking mind. And so he's just drinking out of his flask, and then he starts talking to the janitor and then answering back as the janitor, to
puts
himself.
His thumb on his
lips and starts moving his mouth, and he's apologizing to him. He's making the janitor apologize to him for saying he was useless, and all this fucking ridiculous exchange. My favorite part about that though was when he says something to the janitor and he's like, something about the zombies, and then he puts his hand back on the janitor's mouth and goes, cadavers. And I'm like, God damn it. Fucking genius.
A lot of good running gags like that.
Really
yeah.
good. And that whole exchange between the two of them, that scene was really funny.
Yeah,
and it was really sweet too at the same time. So it was cool. And then he wakes up, obviously.
Right.
We'll get into Alex.
And I want to spoil the end here. We're going to leave it open a little bit, but there's a part where
I don't want to spoil it
where
either. Tom
asked the janitor to kill him because he was bit in this struggle, and it was through his shirt or whatever. And janitor says, janitor's about to cut his head off with the shovel, and he's like, janitor says, I have to apologize. Wait, Tom, I have to apologize for all the things and then Tom puts his finger on his lips, like that moment where they're about to kiss in movies, and he's like, shh, you already have.
It was so good.
Dude, that is the best part of the whole fucking movie.
I died. I had to pause it because I was laughing so fucking hard. I was like, Jesus. It was just so cute.
Right. And without spoiling the end, there's some pretty cool stuff in the credits.
Don't spoil the twist.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
It's fun, and I feel like everybody needs to watch it because that was out of fucking nowhere.
And you can see that they set it up for a sequel if they wanted to.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Right?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Like a Cadaver New Year's.
It would be so great if they did, because that was cool as fuck.
I heard that they said that they might one day, but I don't know. I don't remember.
Crowdfund that shit, because I'll fucking donate.
I don't know if anybody would actually see it, because I think there's a lot of people that haven't seen Cadaver Christmas.
Yeah, they probably should. They probably will now.
Yeah, you guys should check it out, though.
Awesome.
It's a lot of fun, and if you're looking for some holiday movies to like soak up for the holiday season, this is probably a good one.
I agree.
It does have Christmas elements in it a lot more than I thought it was going to have. It actually does deal with it quite a bit. So, but yeah, check it out. I think this is a really good one. Now, it kind of seems obvious, right? I think it's pretty obvious. A Cadaver Christmas wins, and I think by a large portion. It's a cheaper made movie, done way better, way funnier.
Way better.
The humor actually hits more than The Saint.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there was anything that was written for funny that I laughed at.
I'm pretty sure Saint threw in that as a last resort to try and break it up a little bit.
It's one of those movies you should watch, but I don't...
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think it's cool. It's like a 5, maybe 6 at the most.
Give it a 5.5.
Yeah. And then the Cadaver, like, total, like, 7, maybe 8.
I would say, yeah, I'm going to go in the middle.
It's an 8 for
7.
what it got, for how much money and budget they had.
Yeah,
like,
I'm going to go with 7.5 on that one, and it's a lot because of Tom.
Yeah. I'll watch it again for sure. I'm going to buy it.
I want to own that one for sure, and I will watch it again because it was really fun.
The Saint I can skip. I really don't care.
Mouse hasn't seen it, so I'm going to make him watch it because he'll really like it.
He needs to watch these with you.
He had practice.
Yeah, Christina has been having the same problem with all the new movies that we got.
Yeah.
So, by the way, guys, next week we're going to be doing our regular week, okay? But I want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up on what the plans for the next few weeks are, because we obviously have the holidays here, and we do celebrate Christmas with our families and such, or friends even. And so next week we're going to be doing Monday and Thursday, like regular. The following week we are only going to be doing a Thursday episode because Christmas actually falls on a Monday. And we thought, well, anytime there's a holiday going on, honestly, nobody listens. Like, not as many people. It's like it cuts it in half or into a fourth of the amount of people that listen, which, we want to provide content, but in the same respect, we have a lot going on too. So we're trying to balance that. So we're going to do one episode for that Thursday. So it'll be like right before, I think it's the 28th. We're going to have an episode out on, and then we're going to skip the next Monday because that's New Year's Day, which everybody's going to be fucking hungover as shit on. Nobody's going to want to deal with work or anything that day. So we figured we'll just put another episode out on that Thursday that week too. So we're going to have an episode for each week, but it's only going to be one for the next 2 weeks after next week, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, guys, what do you think of these 2 movies that we watched this week? I mean, did you like them? Have you seen them before? Are you curious about seeing them? Did we help you to kind of want to see them, or did it make it so you didn't want to see them? How did you feel about the Black Pete situation? Like, tell us all about what you think in the comments of any of our social media or any of the places that we post the podcast. We'll definitely see it, and we appreciate anyone that shares, obviously. So thank you guys for sharing that. Other than that, next week we're going to be doing 2 new movies. Which ones are we going to do?
What was it?
Secret Santa.
Secret Santa and
from 2016, by the way, not the newest one.
And then
we're also going to be doing
Once Upon a Christmas or something.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time at Christmas.
Once Upon a Time at Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah. So which is not even out yet, but it'll be out by the time that this airs, I think. So it'll actually be out on Monday of this past week or Tuesday of this past week. Yeah.
2 brand new movies that we're like basically viewing screeners for.
Yeah. So we're just giving you a little bit of a heads up on there. Other than that, I mean, if you guys haven't already, please go to longlivethevoid.com and check out any of our fucking social media, any of our horror shots. If you're ever interested in any of that stuff, follow us on Facebook. We're in the Facebook group called Do You Love Horror? You name it. But, yeah. So you excited for this holiday? Yeah, you're like, meh. I think this is the best part, is watching all these fun, silly holiday movies.
All holiday movies. And then they always replay Harry Potter, too. So
Right. That's true, huh?
They do. Every Thanksgiving and Christmas, they replay all the movies, even though I own them all. But so we just watch them.
I'm not a big fan of those, by the way.
Suck a dick.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
Oh, Harry Potter can suck my...
No, he would never.
But guys, thank you so much for stopping by. We'll see you next week on Monday.
Stay weird, monsters.
You have been episode.